for this bountiful rain that you have given us, so that the earth may be renewed. Watch over each of us at this table as we make difficult decisions on behalf of not just those who live in the Cherokee Nation today, but those in the future. Watch over those who are serving us abroad and at home to fight for our freedoms. May they come home safely. Watch over those who are ill in our communities and our families, that they may pull through and come home healthy. Thank you again for all that you do for each of us, and God bless those here at the table and abroad in the Cherokee Nation in the United States. Amen.
This is roll call.
Julia Coates. Here. Don Garvin. Buell Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker. Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk. Here. Meredith Braley. Here. Janelle Colbert. Here. Chuck Hoskin Jr. Hannah Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Stokes. David Thornton.
Present.
Kara Cowan Watts.
Honey.
We have a quorum.
Next is the minutes from the August 10th meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And we move on to our reports. And first of all, we have Talking Leaves Job Corps. Is there anyone here from Job Corps? No? Career Services? Okay. Then we will move on to the Education Group, the Executive Director's Report. Dr. Neil Morton.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to introduce a couple of persons that most of you probably know, but they're in new positions. Most of you know that Gina Stanley resigned effective September 5th. And so Rita was standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. So Rita Bunch is the interim superintendent, except for at least for all of this coming year. We're not going to change in the middle of the year again. She comes to us, of course, from Education Services as deputy group lead. I have the utmost respect and confidence in her ability, especially in public school ability, because of taking a school that didn't have any money and running an excellent academic program at Watson, where she's taught in several places. Long teaching experience, so she knows school. And so she has literally hit the ground running in the last few days, getting everything going. And to ably assist her, we have Mitch McGee. Mitch is principal, and he has 32 years experience in public schools, and he's a school person. He knows what it's about, having been in classroom, teaching, coaching, and long tenure in administration. So they will be working with us, and we expect an excellent year from Sequoia. Having said that, you have our reports for the month. As Councilman Anglin and I were just mentioning, it seems like I was here only a little bit ago, last Friday. Very good meeting. So if you have questions concerning any of the reports, I know Council Member Glory Jordan. You had questioned about Sequoia and had requested that the superintendent be here this time. So if that is appropriate, she's probably ready to answer.
Actually, I think I've gotten the answers
Great.
to all the questions and look forward to working with Rita
Very good.
later on.
Very good.
But thank you for remembering.
Okay. So if there are questions, I'll be happy to try to address them.
Councilor Dodger.
Dr. Morton, I have 6 questions, and I'll just ask them all.
Okay.
I've got the floor. Okay. They'll be short answers. I see where you hired 2 outreach coordinators for outreach programs. The outreach program, you hired 2 new people.
But we've hired 2 people in higher ed. They will be doing some outreach,
Now, that was my question. What will they be doing on the outreach program?
going to high schools and working with counselors and students and getting our scholarships out there, scholarship applications out there early.
Okay.
We've run into that problem every year, as you well know from working with schools in your area. Even though we got the information out there, unless someone takes it out there and makes their presence known, it doesn't really get out to those students. So
And
we're
that's,
going
that's
to...
what I was concerned about in the
Yeah,
past.
that's what causes our higher ed program to always go right down to that last wire of paying a late fee, of getting a kid funded. I never cease to be amazed at students who come in and say, well, I'm here to check on this. I never heard of it before. So we're going to try to take care of some of that. I never heard of it before.
I'm glad to hear that. The other question is on the Directed Studies program. I noticed that I was under the impression it was a 2-year payback, but I did see on the RNs there was a 1-year payback on it.
On the regular Directed Studies program, there is a 2-year payback.
Okay.
Because it costs us a great deal more money, to put a person through dental college or an advanced medical program. It doesn't cost us that much to put the RN through. So we've asked for just to have the RN work for us for the 1 year.
Okay.
And of course, remember that program was written before you acquired Hastings. You see, we really didn't need nurses in the Cherokee Nation. Everyone else did, and so it was an excellent move, I think, to get people employed in a good paying position. But all of the nurses at the Cherokee Nation prior to Hastings were 8 to 5.
Okay.
So, those jobs are sought after more than the shift type jobs.
Okay, well, thanks for clearing that up for me. The other question I had was in immersion. I saw some issues with transportation, safety issues, speed bumps, security issues, and things like that. Have you got a plan to address those things now?
On immersion?
Yes.
Actually, Rita has the full direct line responsibility for immersion, so I'll let her address the new building process and so forth.
And the question was related to the bus safety?
It was transportation, safety issues, fencing, speed bumps, security issues. That kind of concerned me about the safety up there as to why, we haven't got that addressed by now.
We just this week, some management resources came out and did the layout for the fence, and they're clearing another area that we're going to have open access to the old ropes course area. So we'll do some outdoor classroom planning there, programming. The lighting, we've talked to, again, the same group, and they're aware that we need some lighting out there. And so we're working on the lighting. Now, as far as the speed bump,
Yeah, and I think that's important to have around schools for kids.
going into,
I guess the new immersion or the immersion class, the immersion doesn't have any speed bumps in it now.
no.
So I was concerned about that. We need to slow those cars down a lot.
No, that's a short driveway into it. Now we are purchasing some portable fence because at the present time, we are using some of the parking area for play activities, and so we are looking for some portable fencing because we were concerned about the parking and parents pulling into that area. But as far as the speed bump, I'll look into it, but I'm not sure.
Take a look at it and see.
There.
And the reason I'm concerned about it, I know there at J School we've had a couple of kids that run over by a school bus. And, we don't slow those cars down, we could certainly be asking for an accident there. So take a look at it, see what. Yeah. And the other was just safety issues like the fencing and the lighting, stuff like that. Thank you. And the other question I had, Dr. Moore, is on the Learn and Serve program. Is there plans, for the grant that didn't get refunded for Learn and Serve now? I know there was, $200,000 or $300,000 a year that we got.
Yeah, here's the situation on Learn and Serve. We applied for a no-cost extension to use the money that we had left over to go ahead and run the program through the 10 fiscal year, 2010 fiscal year. So we'll run the program through 2010 on a smaller scale. Now, we did find out last week that the same agency that didn't fund us has announced that they will receive grant applications next spring. So we'll turn around and apply for that thing again. So at least we're still in business, not at full strength, but still in business.
Okay, and then the next question I got is on our JOM, especially on the JOMs that's not in the school system, do we periodically do audits on those JOM programs? Internal audits?
Do an internal review.
Okay.
Yeah,
At some point in time, I'd like to take a look at a review or two, if you don't mind.
very good.
The other question I had, and this is, I want to follow up on the Cherokee class up in the northern part of Delaware, Ottawa County, see if you had a chance to take a look at that.
Okay,
If you give me an answer on that at some point in time. I'd
very
appreciate
good.
it. Okay. Thank
I'll
you,
look
Madam
into
Chair.
that. I'll give you an answer before the week's over
Okay,
on that
thank
one.
you.
Ms. Jordan?
Dr. Morton, still get the same questions on the playground equipment. Can we give a timetable on the immersion playground equipment when that might be in place?
Actually, construction starts in October?
They were out today looking at the dirt work. Company out of Tulsa came over today. So, once the new building is in place, then we'll be able to move the playground construction or implement. We're going to work on an outdoor playground with brush arbors and those type of things, more of a culturally appropriate playground. I think the question that you keep getting is about additional manufactured playground equipment. And, that takes, we'll have to purchase, bring it in, get it set up. And what we have available now has its limitations, but we can access CDC's playground. And we, on occasion they do. That, they look over at that facility and they see all the manufactured playground equipment, and CDC is trying to go to convert to a more natural playground and get rid of some of those.
Could they bring some of it over to the
That may be what we have to do,
program?
is just switch out and
Do some more
satisfy
training.
everybody.
Apparently, the immersion children want the manufactured playground equipment.
A few
I guess
of them.
that's what they keep telling their grandparents and their parents, that they want that bright colored equipment.
Yes, yes.
So would there be a timetable that we could give this gentleman, let him know that it's going to happen?
The building, the last word we received was October, toward the end. So sometime after October.
Okay. Thank you all.
Okay.
Other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Morton. Mr. Baker?
Yes, Madam Chair. Since Dr. Morton has been reporting on items 2 through 6, I'd like to make a motion that we just list this one time, the executive director's report, we report on the other items, but we still continue to receive the written reports as given.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that, but I also have
Comment.
a question I want to ask you.
Ms. Jordan and
Okay, one of the requirements of 3 is that she periodically report to us. That's one of the federal requirements for her grant.
Okay.
Point of information. Is that monthly or quarterly or yearly?
She had asked us for monthly because that's one of the things that they will seek out in their annual audit.
But she hasn't reported here monthly. I mean, she hasn't been here, so
Well,
she's not.
I think that may be because, and I don't want to speak for the heads of the department, but I think some department managers were told they were not to come to the meetings.
is this to be a report to the body, or is the written report sufficient
No,
for
she
the
needs to
grant?
be here to answer questions. That's one of the questions that they ask her in her annual audit.
Dr. Morton, are you?
That is correct.
Okay.
And I would like to ask Dr. Morton if we could start having her come back, because their audit will be, I guess, in the spring. And I don't want them to lose points because they couldn't come before this body. Even if we don't have any questions, if she's here physically, it counts as a positive measure towards her audit. I understand that's, whether we ask questions or not, if she's here, that is a positive remark that's made on her audit.
Yes, I'd be happy to speak to that, because I was present at the exit interview of the auditors last year. And one of the points, the strong points that the auditors mentioned was that this program followed the regulations of having direct report to council. Head Start is a program, of course, that's usually operated by community action agencies, small nonprofit type agencies, and they get into a lot of trouble because they do not have that oversight. So what the federal Head Start persons are more concerned with is the oversight situation. So to be able to say that yes, you have direct, even though Councilman Baker and Councilman Tyna are both on the advisory committee, that's indirect. So if she were just, if she was just invited to be present, not necessarily a formal type situation, make her report, then you would be able to truthfully say that she had direct access to the council.
Are you offering this as a friendly amendment then, that 3 be included,
That 3
continue to be part of our
Yes.
agenda?
I think that will give her positive points on her renewals.
Yes. I'll be happy to
Accept that? Ms. Watts, you would accept it as a
Yes.
second? Okay. Mr. Baker?
Yeah, and just to take it a step further, is they actually look at our education agendas to see that Head Start is on there. And like I say, there's not anything to report every time, but it's kind of like Michael Lynn's program. We never, hardly ever have comments on the comment section, but it's part of his funding that be there. And so I just reiterate that I'm glad everybody took it as a friend.
Ms. Cowan Watts?
Well, I'm just concerned, why we're just now hearing about it. So I'm just would like to express that, I mean, I don't know what we should have done, but maybe there should have been more formal communication if that's a requirement.
That's why I asked that she be added before.
But we shouldn't have heard from the employee, we should have heard from the employee to the group leader to us, is what.
Dr. Moore?
Please.
Again, it is not a specific requirement that she be represented or that program be represented in this particular body. It is a requirement that that program have persons from this body on their advisory committee. But what I'm saying is that we got bonus points last year because of the fact that Head Start had direct access to the education committee. Now, if her attendance at a council meeting, for instance, would not have provided those bonus points, but because she attended and was subject to a question, if a question should happen to arise, then she did in fact get some brownie points for that, some bonus points.
Thank you.
Okay, so the motion is that on the reports, numbers 1, 2, and 3 be retained, but that numbers 4, 5, and 6 are rolled into the executive director's report. Am I stating that essentially?
But we still get the written reports.
But we still get the written reports from all programs?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. I see Ms. Kelly is here, so Career Services, please, I'd like to report.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, you have my report, and if you have any questions about Job Corps, vocational training, voc rehab, or adult education, I'll be more than happy to respond. I just have one or two announcements regarding offices. That's it.
Are there questions?
Okay. Barbara Morris, who is here in our Tahlequah office, will be reporting to Salisaw. She will be our full-time counselor there in Salisaw. So Ms. Fulbright, Mr. Thorne. We will have a counselor there 5 days a week starting next week. She will be transitioning in with Ms. Duggar. Mr. Garvin, you'll be happy to know that we will have a full-time counselor in Muskogee. Ms. Duggar will be over there on a full-time basis. And that is primarily because of us going global with the day work program. And I'm going to have somebody in all those locations, one person at least 5 days a week. Of course, they'll still be doing their field days, so if somebody calls you and says, well, we went into the office, there wasn't a counselor there, they do have to go out and do their field visits and monitor their job sites and make arrangements. So they will have field visits, but there will be someone there regularly through the week. And we are expanding our J office. Mr. Buzzard, you asked about that last month. We hope to have the expansion at J completed by the end of October. Hopefully we'll be there in that office. Work's going pretty well. They're going 10-hour days right now, so they're trying to get the daylight as much as they can. And Salisaw will be expanding, and we'll be doing a ribbon cutting and open house at Salisaw the first part of October. Anything else?
Diane, how's the day worker program? Is it starting to pick up any new applicants?
No. And primarily because we wanted to get the bugs worked out. We have another meeting with Human Services this week because we'll start going globally all over the week after next. And so we wanted to make sure that we had everything worked out. There's a tweak with one of the cards. I think somebody went to one of the banks. The bank wouldn't honor it. They said you have to go and get goods for it. And we visited with Tansy about that today, so hopefully we're going to get that worked out. But there will be a news article going out. If it hasn't hit some of the newspapers, it should hit this week, especially the rural areas, about the day work program. So we're trying to get everybody lined up, so I've got one counselor per office.
And I know it takes a little while to get things like that. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
It's fishing clock.
So can I tell more people about it, Diane?
Yeah, let the article go out if it goes out this week first, because I'm not really sure I have an idea what the article's going to say, but it's basically the same article going out everywhere, and then whatever you want to say after that is fine with me.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Jordan.
I've already seen the article in our local newspaper.
Have you? Okay.
It's very positive. And I've had a few inquiries about it. Do we send the folks to you all?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And is it $50 on the card?
They can work 4 hours a day, which is $25, or they can work 8 hours a day, which is $50. And they are guaranteed a card at the end of the day, unless it's something we've worked out with them to do 2 days or 3 days, whatever.
And if they need several days' work, you all will
The
work
counselor
with
will
one.
determine that.
And then there is the possibility that if you have some job openings somewhere at the nation that they might be
They can be
considered
referred.
if
Yes,
their
ma'am.
skills
Yes,
match
ma'am.
or
That's why
comparable.
we're networking with Human Services, because if we see that this client comes to our doorstep, it may be that we're going to work with them to have case management work with them, because there could be some other things like food distribution or maybe help with their electric bill during winter months. There's a lot of things that they may be able to take advantage of. But now bear in mind, if they're on the day work program, according to Jerry Snell and his people, if we give them one of those cards, that is considered income towards them qualifying for those other services. So it may very well be, depending on what their situation is, we may want them to go to social services first to get that service met and then come back to us on day work. It depends. So we're going to try to get them the best deal we can so that we make sure that their services are met.
So
I
we're
said that
looking
for
at-
Curtis's benefit because he was looking at me.
So we're looking
We have
at
to
more
work
than
with
one
them.
part then? We're
Yes.
trying to
Yes,
fix the
ma'am.
whole situation?
You bet we are.
Okay. But at least that would meet an immediate need if they had to have something by the end of the day, say their electric's being turned off or something, we can get something going.
Yes. In Delaware County, I think we've seen maybe a total of 4 to 5. And in Adair County, it's been probably about 3, 4, 5, something like that. But bear in mind, we only started it the third week in August, so it hasn't been up and going very long. Pardon?
But you will give the program plenty of time to catch on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because it may be a little slow at the start, but I think as people understand the process.
If you all would like, I can get a copy of the article that went out to the newspapers just for your benefit. I can make sure it's emailed to you.
If you could email it, I
Okay.
plan to make copies and have it at my office so that I know where they're supposed to go.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
And I can send you a list of who the counselors are in all these locations, because we're not going to have a counselor in some of the areas, especially up in your area, Buell. We'll be just having to do referrals or make field day visits and stuff. Because I've only got one counselor up that way.
Diane,
Yes,
what would be great for me is if you have the phone number so I can just help them call the number from where we're at and get them started that direction.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Buzzard?
Would you send it to all the fellow councilmen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, I will. Sorry. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to old business, there is none pending, and moving to new business. Normally, the cultural tourism reports on a quarterly basis, they were inadvertently left off of this agenda. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda to hear the quarterly report from the cultural tourism group.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Jarvis?
Thank you very much. Love to come and present our updates on cultural tourism. And I have with me here today Steve Rushigan and Travis Owens, who are co-managing the department. One working mostly and primarily on sales and marketing, and the other working on construction and resources. And also with us is Katie Shaw, who just happened to be in Tahlequah for meetings today, but Katie manages our interpretive planning. So we have a couple of handouts for you today if you want to do that, Steve, while I'm providing an update. I believe you have our report for the quarter, and I just wanted to hit a couple high points. For the Supreme Court, we are in the interior renovation and should have that complete in December, and the exhibits in place and available for tours in spring of 2010. What Steve is handing out, one of them is our new brochure, or what we would hand out at your community events or trade shows, and the other is information about a fall tour we have called History After Dark. On the projects we have in place right now, in addition to the Supreme Court, also restoration of Ross School and exhibit design there, completion of the Ross Cemetery, including an interpretive trail, which will be part of our History After Dark tour. Also working on restoration plans for the prison. We are currently booking our fall education tours. If you'll recall, we had tremendous success last fall and spring with those tours for students. We've had about 27,000 hits to the website in August. This is double what we had in May. So we held our grand unveiling for tourism on August 17th at Gilcrease Museum, and thank you all who could attend or read about it or heard about it. During the national holiday last weekend, we hosted walk-in tours and had a passport program where people were able to get a card and then visit several merchants downtown to help tie them into our program, and then receive a tourism t-shirt in exchange for that. The other thing I wanted to make note of is we are hosting our 4th annual Cherokee Art Market, October 10th and 11th. It will be inside the building, the new convention space at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tulsa, and we are currently sold out with about 137 artists who will be there, and those are artists from across the nation. That's really what I wanted to mention, and then questions.
Ms. Kelly?
Thank you. I just want to thank you because Catherine and Heather were on hand for my community meeting on Saturday, my town hall, and they did an excellent job.
Well,
thank you very much.
To Steve and Travis as well, they're doing a great job managing this department.
Thank you.
Mr. Buzzard?
Molly, when we have our art market there, does the first participants, are they Cherokee first, or you just advertise it as Native American?
We do advertise it as Native American, and we are qualifying persons to get in terms of being part of a federally recognized tribe. And then they're entering into specific categories as well, pottery or jewelry. So I don't think that we have turned away any Cherokee artists. I will ask Steve and Travis for that update. But yeah, I don't think we've turned away ever a Cherokee artist.
I had a thought. The other question I had, Molly, is on the tours during the holidays. I noticed in the report there were some people that took advantage of them, and it didn't sound to me like it was really a huge success. And I guess what I saw, but I didn't see any place marked or telling people where to go. If I was going to get on the tour, I didn't really know where to go.
Okay.
So you might want to.
Well, one of the things that's in our report is we've been looking for a good location downtown for a welcome center,
Yes.
which would be the official place to buy tickets and sign up for a tour and meet a bus, and that has been part of our plan. And we've had several conversations with the real estate office here at the Nation, and several different alternatives have presented themselves to us. We just haven't found the one that's the right location for us.
Okay, well, that's just when I kind of saw.
I fully expect by next year we will have a welcome center, and for us, we'd really like to have it in the spring, when new tour season really kicks off.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Thank you for your time today.
Under announcements, just a reminder that our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for October 19th, which is a week later than our original date or our usual date, and this is of course because a number of this body are attending the NCAI meetings in Palm Springs on the 12th. Are there other announcements? Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?